Hi guys, I'm Jan and today I'm doing my September wrap up. I read 6 books in September. The first book I read was Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. I read this for class. We have to read this semester, and I decided this summer to get a jump start on the books I have to read for my English Lit class. Frankenstein is the story of Victor Frankenstein, who is a scientist and one day discovers a way to make a living thing out of not so living things. We all know that part of the story. The monster, which is not called Frankenstein, the monster has no name, then roams around and stuff happens. We follow Victor on his journey to better understand the monster and to run away from him because he's afraid of the thing he made. And I can't say more because that'll spoil the plot. I enjoyed this. I got through a bit slowly because of the older English, I guess, that's used. I tend to have, well, I wouldn't say have problems with it, but it makes me go through books very slowly. And I'm just really looking forward to talking about this one in class because I think there will be a lot of great gems in here I haven't noticed yet. I gave Frankenstein 4 out of 5 stars. The next book I read was Is Everyone Hanging Out Without Me by Mindy Kaling. I listened to this on audiobook and I thought it was enjoyable. It was a nice, funny, relatable read. I like her humor, but I have to say there wasn't really a takeaway, you know? And when I'm reading non-fiction books or autobiographies, most of the time there is one clear takeaway, and now it was just empty. It was a fun thing to listen to, and then it was over and it was fine. I gave Is Everyone Hanging Out Without Me 3 out of 5 stars. The next, well, I wouldn't call it a book, it was more of a snippet I read was Deus Ex Rent by DJ Bodden. It was a nice snippet. It was a free thing I found on an author's website, and I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. I don't know what to tell you, man. The next book I read was Carry On by Rainbow Rowell. I was in love with Fangirl. Fangirl is one of my favorite books, and now I finally picked up Carry On and read through it, and I loved it. I loved it. It was riddled with Harry Potter references. I noticed that after like 2 pages. I guess you either hate it or love it, because I really loved how it was done, because it took the Harry Potter story and referenced it indirectly and then turned it on his head a little bit. So I quite like that, but I get it if you do not like that as well. Carry On is essentially the heroic story of our protagonist Simon Snow, who is discovering that he is, or isn't, the chosen one, and what he has to do to save the world of mages from his arch enemy, the insidious Humdrum. Yeah, that's really his name. All while further exploring his relationship with his enemy and roommate Baz. I absolutely love this book because it has a lot of indirect references to Harry Potter. It takes the hero story and it turns it on its head. And I thought the added diversity was really cool. The only thing I have to say about it is that sometimes the Harry Potter references were a bit too obvious, but I guess that was intentional. I gave Carry On 5 out of 5 stars. The next book I read I got from Nat Galley in exchange for an honest review, and that was Hello Me It's You by Hannah Todd and a bunch of anonymous writers. Hello Me It's You is a collection of letters from young adults to their 16-year-old selves, giving advice and talking a lot about the mental health issues they have or are going to have, and how to deal with that, how to deal with life in general, how to seek help, to know you're not alone, stuff like that. And I think it's a very powerful collection which positively talks about mental health without stigmatizing it, and I definitely recommend that you check it out. A more coherent review will be up on my channel when the book comes out, so keep an eye out for that. I gave Hello Me to 5 out of 5 stars. And the last book I read was The Smell of Other People's Houses by Bonnie Sue Hitchcock. This book I also got from NetGalley in exchange for an honest review. I just finished it like an hour ago and I really like this book. It had a lot of storylines, so at the beginning I wasn't really sure if I was going to like it, and then at once I loved it. I tend to have problems with keeping storylines apart, especially when there's a lot of storylines, characters that are a lot alike. Just a really short book with a lot of storylines. I don't know, I just tend to have problems with that, but I pulled through. I made notes for myself so I could distinguish the different characters, and that really helped. The rest of the book I was more sure what was going on and I was able to enjoy it more. The Smell of Other People's Houses is a novel about different people living in Fairbanks in the 1970s, so that's Alaska. It follows their lives, the good, the bad, the ugly, everything. We get a peek into different cultures and different generations because of the many storylines we follow. The book also talks about a lot of important topics like teenage pregnancy, abuse, and foster care, and as far as I can say, I think it did it quite well. It didn't just mention it, but it did go into depth without being disrespectful or anything like that. So I think that was really well done. And then the characters and relationships are crafted very good as well. Because remember, it's a pretty short book and there's a lot of different perspectives going on, but with every character we see their good and bad sides. So no one is idolized that way and it's all really realistic and really human. I do have to give a little trigger warning for graphic descriptions of the murder of animals because there's a lot of fishing in this novel, and consequently sometimes a character talks about chopping a fish's head off or something like that, blood on her clothes, stuff like that. It did bother me a little bit, so I just read over those parts really quickly, but it doesn't distract from the main story, I think. I gave The Smell of Other People's Houses 4 out of 5 stars. So that was my reading month. I think I did pretty well. I am looking forward to a read along I am going to participate in over the course of October. For more about that, I will insert a video here. So let me know what you've been reading. I'm always curious to find out. And keep an eye out for my next video. I'm sure we'll see each other soon. Bye.